What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some incredibly spicy retro cut battles submitted to the channel by Pro Beans Eater, who's running level 50 Slowpoke, Credilli, and a level 50 Shundo Phantump with the newly buffed Astonish. There are also a few battles towards the end with some more random wacky level 50 spice picks in the Open Great League, so make sure you stick around for that. But with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. What's the most random shiny Pokemon that you've powered up to level 50? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead Slowpoke into Trevenant. This is obviously an awful lead for us, so we save swap into our Credilli. The opponent gonna stay in, they're actually gonna fire off a Seed Bomb immediately, so we can safely no shield. This Seed Bomb is neutral damage, and now the opponent comes in with Defense Form Deoxys. Now, obviously Seed Bomb made sense to no shield, but now the opponent can just very easily counter farm us all the way down, and that will put us in a really rough position. We do at least grab a shield advantage with the second Grass Knot, but the opponent gets a massive counter farm down. Now she's going to come in with the Phantump, and we are going to possibly no-shield the first move, and we do. It's just a Thunderbolt, the opponent not wanting to debuff their attack. We're going to shield the next one as the opponent goes for a second Thunderbolt, so quite smart from the opponent there, expecting a shield, but very smart from Pro Beans Eater as he makes the swap, catching the resisted Psycho Boost onto our Slowpoke, and now we can make it to a Side Shock before the opponent throws a charge move. If the opponent wants to, they probably can just shield once and fully Shadow Claw farm us all the way down. But no, they don't commit to the farm down. They do panic, they throw a Seed Bomb, they take us out, but we can now go for a Seed Bomb of our own. Seed Bomb will be enough damage, even resisted, to take out the Trevenant from this range. And they come in with a Quagsire, so we can go for another Seed Bomb. This is going to be double super effective, but Seed Bomb isn't the strongest move. It doesn't quite one-shot them. The opponent makes it to a charge move, but it shouldn't really matter. Defense Form Deoxys is so low that one Astonish takes out the Deoxys, and we're able to sweep an entire team with a Phantump. Going into the next battle, we see a Shadow Credilli in the lead. So once again, not a great lead for the Slowpoke, so we swap into our Phantump, and the opponent going to stay in. They're going to go for a charge move here. Rock Slide will be neutral damage. It will do quite a lot of damage, but we do barely live that. The opponent swaps into a Frost Slash. We barely get off the Shadow Ball, and the opponent no shields. We one-shot the Frost Slash. We regain switch advantage, and now we're in a great position. We can come in with the Slowpoke, and we resist everything the Medicham can possibly throw. So gonna no shield the first move. They go for Psychic. That does a pretty embarrassing amount of damage there from the Medicham. We can now go for a Side Shock, and Side Shock will be no shielded by the opponent there, saving both their shields for the Credilli. It does make sense, but we can safely no shield the next Psychic as well. They come back in with Credilli. We swap into our own Credilli, and we should be looking pretty good. At this point, the opponent's probably in range where we can just go straight Rock Slide here. The opponent gonna go for a Rock Slide bait up against us. We are now going to let the next move go through. Rock Slide doesn't do too much damage. We farm to the back-to-back Rock Slides, firing them off immediately, going for the first one, grabbing the shield, and actually no, we don't fire off the second one immediately. We're going to overfarm, always farming two back-to-back Rock Slides, it would seem. Now going for the next Rock Slide here. This should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and now we can swap back into the Slowpoke. We've put them into range where Side Shock will also KO the Credilli, and we can Confusion, farm down the Medicham, and take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Slowpoke into Shadow Dragonite. So we are going to stay in this lead matchup. Honestly, this is probably our best matchup just because we can apply a lot of fast move pressure with the Confusion damage. The opponent throws straight away, so we get a full Confusion in for free. Unfortunately, Slowpoke not super attack weighted, so we won't be able to fully Confusion farm them down, so we end up firing off a charge move. The opponent now comes in with a Dragonair, so it might be a triple Dragon team. They go for a Body Slam, taking us out, throwing on the CMP tire once again, but this time we couldn't make it to the charge move, or another charge move there, and so we just let that go down there. We now come in with the Credilli. We can fire off back-to-back Rock Slides, and these should be grabbing a shield from the opponent. We do grab that first shield. We make it to Rock Slide number 2. Rock Slide going to do quite a lot of damage here, but the opponent does no shield. We swap into our Phantump, and this is quite a smart play because we resist everything they can throw. They go for the Aqua Tail, and they've got a Medicham in the back, and this should be game over for the opponent. Astonish doing quite a lot of damage to that Medicham. We do shut up the Ice Punch. We are going to overfarm, farming to 100 energy, going for a Seed Bomb bait. Honestly, even if they let us go through, it will do a lot of damage, but they do shield it. Now we can safely go for the Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball will easily take out the Medicham, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we see Frostlass in the lead, so a fairly decent lead, I suppose. We got two grass types in the back. Obviously Shadow Ball will basically one-shot us, so we will respect the damage there. The opponent comes in with Mantine, so I would say we probably want to swap into our Cradilly, at least at some point, but we're going to stay in initially here, and the opponent will go for a charge move. They also win the CMP tie, which I didn't realize, but they go for a Bubble Beam bait, and it might be that the opponent is running Bubble Beam and Ice Beam, in which case both moves will be resisted, so we're actually going to let the next move go through as well. Bubble Beam really doesn't do much damage at all, and at this point I think, yeah, we just let the next one go through as well, and then eventually swap out, because we will be triple debuffed here. So we swap into the Phantump, and the opponent isn't able to make it to the Ice Beam. They come in with Salazzle. That Incinerate does huge damage, but speaking of huge damage, we go for the Shadow Ball, one-shotting the Salazzle, and the opponent only has the Frostlass remaining. We're going to come in with the Slowpoke, and we're actually not going to choose to fire off a charge move, instead committing to the full Confusion farm down. It's going to be close, but we get the farm down, and we're able to take that game. Going into the next battle, we see Hypno in the lead, so we're going to say swap into our Phantump, and the opponent has a Dugong, so unfortunately they probably can just Ice Shard farm us down, but if they commit to the full fast move farm down, we might make it to 2 Seed Bombs here, and we do make it, so we will at least grab a shield advantage in this matchup, and that's going to be huge for us. Huge for us, sorry. We can now come back in with the Slowpoke, safely, no shield whatever they throw. Even Droron not going to do too much damage. They actually go for Icy Wind, which will debuff our attack. We don't really care, we weren't doing too much damage anyways, and this just gives us extra farm. We're going to swap out anyway as soon as the Hypno comes back in, so it really doesn't matter. Gonna no shield once again. The opponent goes for another Icy Wind there. We don't care. We're now going to swap, immediately clear the debuff as the opponent comes back in with the Hypno, and they will fire off a charge move. We might shield this up just because it could be an Ice Punch. It ends up being a Fire Punch, so actually that's only going to be neutral damage because of the Grass and Rock typing. So if they do make it to another charge move, we might choose to no shield it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. They are going to go for another Fire Punch there. Doesn't do too much damage. We can go for a Grass Knot, and hopefully this puts them into Bullet Seed farm down range. It's going to be close, but we do get that farm down, and the opponent has a Shadow Swampert in the back, so absolutely perfect for us. We can safely go for the back-to-back Grass Knots. First one grabs the shield, and actually instead we're going to swap into our Slowpoke, because why the heck not? Go for the Side Shock, and the opponent continues to overfarm, allowing us to make it to another Side Shock. Side Shock will be taking out the Shadow Swampert, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we see Lopunny in the lead, so this is fairly good for us. We're going to be resisting the double kicks, and they have to go for Hyper Beam to hit for neutral damage. Otherwise, Triple Axle or Fire Punch, or even if they were running Focus Blast, would all be resisted there. The opponent swaps into Ampharos. We can now come in with our Cradilly, safely let this go through as the opponent doesn't build up to a potential Focus Blast, and this Grass Knot is going to do quite a lot of damage. Hopefully it puts them into range where we can farm them down, but the opponent does use their shield, so we're going to let the next move go through. They go for Trailblaze, going to boost their attack, but it's still not going to do too much damage, and also these Volt Switches are resisted, so they don't deal that much damage either. They do barely outpace us to the next charge move, and we're actually going to let Cradilly go down. That's quite an interesting play, considering they do have Lopunny. Lopunny will be double resisting the Astonish damage from our Phantump, but likewise we are double resisting the double kick damage, so actually fairly neutral here. Of course, Triple Axle would be super effective, and it does boost their attack, but we go for a Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb gets them fairly low, to the point where actually we can probably Astonish farm them down now. The opponent goes for another Triple Axle. It is still resisted. They now come in with a Jellicent, though that is not ideal for the Slowpoke, but Psyshock does hit for nice neutral damage. We make it to Psyshock number 2, and the opponent probably has to throw to take us out here. I don't know if they can get the full Hex farm down. They do actually. That's really bad, but Astonish does more damage this season. Hopefully it takes them out, and it does take them out, and we can just Astonish, farm down the Lopunny, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Whiscash in the lead. So we got two grass types in the back, so I would say we're probably going to swap out eventually. We do swap into our Phantump, and once again met with a Dugong. So once again, if the opponent does try and commit to the full Ice Shard farm down, they're going to have to use a shield here. And the opponent this time actually just going to throw their charge move straight away. So going to let Phantump go down. We can't flip that matchup, at least without going down a shield. So we come back in with the Slowpoke. Slowpoke doesn't have an awful matchup up against the Whiscash anyway. So switch advantage, not absolutely necessary against this team comp so far. We do come out with quite a lot of energy. We swap immediately into Credilli. We're going to no shield. They could be running Blizzard, but it is just a Scald, so that is quite fortunate. But it debuffs our attack, and they come in with a Dusclops. So this is going to be quite tricky for us. We go for Grass Knot, and because we're debuffed, 2 Grass Knots will be nowhere near enough damage to KO. So at this point, we might start going for Rock Sides, but no, we go for another Grass Knot here. Grass Knot still not going to do too much damage to the opponent, but can we make it to one final charge move? Yes, we are able to do so, and this might end up grabbing a shield from the opponent. It does grab the shield. We come back in with the Slowpoke. We immediately go for the Side Shock, and Side Shock grabs the final shield from the opponent. We have already seen Ice Punch, so we choose to no-shield another Ice Punch. That is an insane call. Of course, they could be running Poltergeist. They probably are running Poltergeist, or maybe Fire Punch as the other charge move. But like that, we've now still got a shield remaining. We can go for the Side Shock, dealing big damage to the Whiscash, and we make it to yet another Side Shock. And from this range, Slowpoke takes out the Whiscash, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, another pretty poor lead for the Slowpoke, so we swap into our Phantump, and the opponent comes in with a Galvantula, so we're going for a Seed Bomb bait here. Typically Galvantula always going to shield the first charge move, but this is one of the only Galvantula users that doesn't shield, and unfortunately they do live that very comfortably, but then they fire off a Bug Buzz. Very interesting, not running Lunge, and that allows us to fully Astonish farm them down, which is pretty crazy there. We can now go for a Shadow Ball into Meganium, coming back in. That does huge damage, and then we make it to a Seed Bomb on the CMP tie with the charge move from this Meganium. So really good there from the Phantump, despite going for that bait up against the Galvantula. We can now come in with the Slowpoke. They will make it to a charge move, but it's much easier to fast move farm them down than with Credilli using Bullet Seeds, and the opponent has a Whiscash in the back. So we're looking pretty good here, as long as the opponent isn't running Blizzard. They did farm up quite a lot of energy, and they full sent a Blizzard, but Credilli, incredibly bulky, manages to hang on. We go for a Rock Side bait, grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and we make it to the Grass Knot in time. This is double super effective. Grass Knot will be one-shotting the Whiscash, and we're able to take that game. But that was quite a scare there from that Whiscash because it was running Blizzard. But you can see Credilli incredibly bulky, especially in the non-Shadow variant. But now we see another Frost Sass in the lead, so we're going to stay in once again. They do barely outpace us to a Shadow Ball, so going to shield the first move. They full send the Shadow Ball there, so that is very good for us. We can now go for a Side Shock, and Side Shock will do big damage. It won't quite take them out from this range, but it does grab a shield. And now at this point, I think we just double shield, go for the full Confusion farm down if we can. And the opponent is going to stay in with the Frost Sass, allowing us to get that full farm down. And let's see, they come in with a Shadow Swampert, so once again, got 2 grass types in the back, so it makes a lot of sense to swap into our Credilli. The opponent fires off the Earthquake, dealing big damage, but then they come in with Skeledirge, so we can go for a Rock Side here. We should be able to make it to a second Rock Side before they get the full Incinerate farm down, and this is super effective. It's going to do quite a lot of damage to the Skeledirge, but they should be winning CMP up against our Slowpoke, which is unfortunate. If they full send the Shadow Ball, that easily one-shots us, but they don't. They make a mistake. They go for the Disarming Voice. Water Pulse takes out the Skeledirge, and now we can come in with the Phantump, and we should be able to easily make it to a Seed Bomb, even if they go for the Earthquake there. It is resisted damage. It actually does a lot more damage than I was expecting, but it doesn't matter. We live it. We can go for the full Undercharge BM just for the sake of it, and we still take out the Shadow Swampert with the Seed Bomb, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we see Shadow Victory Bell in the lead, so instantly swap out there. I think in this battle, Slowpoke was running Water Gun instead of Confusion, which is not ideal, considering Confusion would of course be super effective, but we can now go for a second Seed Bomb because once again the opponent goes for the full farm down, and we do get them into range where we can actually Water Gun farm them down with our Slowpoke, and we're probably going to come out with a Side Shock loaded, and if not, we will be very close. So the opponent goes for a drill run there. Doesn't warrant a shield. We can safely no shield the next move as well. They go for back-to-back draw runs, but we can get the full Water Gun farm down, making it to a Side Shock. Side Shock should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, and now we're immediately going to swap into our Credilli. Now unfortunately, Bullet Seeds are double resisted. Rock Side will not be enough damage to take them out, so even though all shields are down on the opponent's end. We need 2 rock sides to take them out here. So the first one does big damage, but bullet seeds really not adding up. We have to fire off a second rock side here to get rid of the Shadow Victory Bell. And what do they have in the back? They've got a Shadow Wall Rain. So can we make it to a last second charge move? Yes, and we commit to the Grass Knot as well. Grass Knot gonna be one-shotting the Shadow Wall Rain, and we're able to take that game. Now going into the bonus battles, the first one we're going to see, as well as the Slowpoke and the Phantump, we're also running a level 50 or very excelled Axew as the third Pokemon, which is quite crazy. But if you think that's crazy, just wait until you see the next team that this trainer is going to be running. We do correctly shield up the Sludge Wave there. Unfortunately, once again running Water Gun and not Confusion. Confusion will be really good in this matchup, but this time the opponent doesn't farm up to the Sludge Wave, so we can very safely no shield that, go for a Side Shock, and from this range it should be taking them out here. We grab a shield from the opponent, and now we're going to go for another Side Shock. And hopefully we can just take out the Toxapex at this point, but no, the opponent gonna use their shield. We come in with the Axew, running Scratch as the fast move. The opponent full sends a Sludge Wave, nearly one-shots us, but we do barely get the Scratch farm down. And let's see what the opponent comes in with. They come in with a Medicham, so now it's time for Phantump to shine, as we can come in dealing big damage with the Astonish here. The opponent is going to farm up, and they're going to throw just before we make it to the charge boost, so very good timing there. The opponent full sends a Psychic, so we can probably overfarm there, but now the opponent comes in with a Tackle Carbink, and that's really good because we double resist the tackle damage. We can now go for Seed Bomb number 2. Seed Bomb will not be enough damage to take them out, but it will put them into perfect farm down range for our Phantump, so gonna let the move go through. They go for Rock Slide, that does quite a lot of damage, but these tackles are dealing almost no damage, and then we swap. We make the perfect catch there. Incredible timing. Rock Slide takes out the Slowpoke. We get the Astonish farm down, and we can fire off a Shadow Ball into the Medicham, coming back in. Shadow Ball one-shots the Medicham, and we're able to take that game. And now into the final battle, we got Phantump in the lead. We've also got a level 50 Dratini, and I don't know, there's probably a level 50 Noibat as well, but it only reaches like 750 TP, so that is quite a crazy investment. Unfortunately, Dratini losing CMP up against the Arcanine, grabbing a shield there with the Aqua Tail, and we can get the full Dragon Breath farm down, which is really nice. The opponent comes back in with the Raichu, so we fire off the Aqua Tail number 2. Not going to do too much damage, but we grab the final shield from the opponent, so absolutely fine with us. We can now come in with the Phantump. This should just be resisted, but we do shield. It is a Thunder Punch, and you can see that Astonish damage really adding up. We're going to fire off a Seed Bomb. I don't think they've got any shields remaining, so that is a very odd play. Yeah, that's definitely just a mistake there. I think we probably just thought they still had a shield, so we went for the bait. But then the opponent also makes a very odd play, going for a Seed Bomb of their own. We can now go for one extra wing attack, go for the Dragon Pulse, and Dragon Pulse, even from a 750 CP Noibat, takes out the Alolan Raichu, and we take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.